The general elections on May 29 will bring about a change in how South Africans vote. Since the first democratic elections in 1994, South Africans have been voting on two ballot papers in general elections, national and provincial ballots. The regional ballot has been introduced following the amendment of the Electoral Act. But the question is, does the public understand what the regional ballot is? Here are the answers from some people in Polokwane.
My understanding about the regional ballot is to focus on the local communities, local townships, and local sub-region.
What I understand about the regional ballots is it's for electing the premiers and the mayors within a province. And that's what I understand so far about the regionals.
We are going to vote this year, but we don't understand the third ballot paper because at the past years when we vote, we used two ballot papers. So the third one, if they can explain that is for what, the third one is for what, so that we can understand.
With many people still confused about the regional ballot, the IEC has moved to clarify the ballot and why it has been introduced in the upcoming elections. It says the total number of 400 seats in the National Assembly will be divided into 200 seats for the national list and 200 seats for the regional list. Unlike before, the 200 regional seats in the National Assembly will now be contested by both political parties and independent candidates. The other 200 compensatory seats will be contested by political parties only.
Remember that previously, for the national elections, only one ballot was used for the 400 total number of seats in the National Assembly. And with the one ballot that was used, in essence, that one ballot was counted twice, because in the total of 400 seats in the National Assembly, those 400 seats are actually divided into two tiers. The first tier of 200 is for the compensatory seats, and the second tier is for the regional seats. So that one ballot was counted for both tiers in the National Assembly for the total of 400 seats. Now, it meant that with the participation of independents now allowed, that could no longer be the case because you recall that independent candidates can only contest the regional ballot, in other words, the second 200 of the regional seats, and not the compensatory seats. So with that in mind, the one ballot for the National Assembly now had to be split into two, which means that because independents do not participate for the compensatory seats, if one wants to vote for an independent, would need to do so directly because these independents are now contesting only the regional seats. That is the second tier out of the total of 400.
Sianero says the changes were effected following the ruling by the Constitutional Court to amend the Electoral Act.
For the compensatory ballot, you only have political parties appearing on that ballot. And for the regional ballot, you have both parties and independents appearing on that ballot, which means that a voter who wants to cast a vote for the regional seat can either vote for an independent or for a political party. So with that in mind, it meant that this particular ballot, the regional ballot, had to come into being. And a similar arrangement is also in place for the provincial legislatures, in the sense that for the provincial legislature ballot, you have now both political parties and independents appearing on that same ballot, which means that a voter can vote for either an independent or a political party for the provincial legislature ballot.
The IEC says, unlike political parties, independent candidates who are contesting for seats in both the National Assembly and the provincial legislature can only occupy one seat at a time should they win both.
An independent candidate, if they so choose, can contest the regional ballot as well as the provincial legislature ballot. They can appear on both. However, what needs to be borne in mind is that in the event they win both seats. Then they have to decide which seats they need to occupy, meaning that the one that is left out will then need to be reallocated. So the Electoral Commission will then be in a position to reallocate such a seat in the event it is not occupied, where an independent candidate was contesting for 2 and managed to win both. So they need to occupy one. Because this person is an individual, they can't occupy 2 seats. So they need to choose which one they occupy in the event they win both. And the remaining one will then need to be recalculated by reallocated by the Electoral Commission.
The Independent Electoral Commission says it's important for voters to understand the difference between the national, regional and provincial ballots in order for them to vote accordingly during the upcoming general elections. I'm Koketšo, Motau, SABC News, Polokwane.